Hey sis, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio. And this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda, coming to you live every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., bringing you information, inspiration, entertainment, and the game plan to win in life and in business. I want to say happy Tuesday. Happy Testimony Tuesday. I think that every Tuesday is a good day for us to take a moment to just think about how good God has been to us, right? Sometimes life can be lifing. Sometimes we can get our minds focused on the negative things that are happening around us. Sometimes we just simply forget that we have overcome so much. We have come so far. God has carried us through so many things that we thought we could not survive. And so I want us to just take a moment to reflect on all of the things that you have survived, all of the holes that you fell in that you thought you couldn't get out of, but here you are standing tall on solid ground. Think about all of those moments of your life when the storm was dark and your heart was heavy and you could not see the light at the end of the tunnel, but here you are living literally in answered prayers. So happy Testimony Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Today, we have some awesome topics that we're going to get into that are going to help us to win in life and in business. So, we have some wellness tips of the week. If you do not know me by now, I am Coach Andromeda, and I am a huge advocate for women prioritizing self care. I am also the founder of the saying, "You need you to win." And so that is my absolute belief that if we want to succeed in any area of our lives, whether it be our finances, whether it be our relationships, whether it be in business or our careers, it's going to first require us to be taking really good care of ourselves because you need you to win, right? Like you can't go and get a new body if your body taps out, right? If you are not feeling your best, it's going to be very difficult for you to pursue your dreams and your goals and your visions, right? So we want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves in all ways. So let's get into these wellness tips of the week. Oh, wait, before I do that, I also want to mention again, I hope that y'all are doing well with No Negativity November. Okay, at the top of this month, I shared that November is dedicated to no negativity, really getting into the habit of keeping our minds focused on positive things. These are the rules for No Negativity November in case you missed it. No engaging in negative conversations, no entertaining negative thoughts, no participating in negative behaviors, and no consuming negative content. So if you are tuned into the She Wins radio show right now, you are exactly where you need to be for all things positive content. All right. So let's get into it. Wellness tips of the week. I want to share with you some wellness tips that are going to help you to win this week physically, mentally, financially, and socially. Because if we're honest with ourselves, those are some of the biggest areas of our lives where we are most affected, right? When it comes to our physical, like if our health is not good, that's going to impact things, right? If our mental is not right, it's going to impact things. Financially, money is one of the biggest stressors in people's lives, right? And socially, right? We hear people every single day of the week complaining about their issues that they're experiencing in their relationships. That could be a romantic relationship, that could be a friendship, that could be a business relationship, that could be a coworker, but people always have something to say about their social lives and what they would like to see improved in that area. So we're going to talk about it. First, let's get into your physical wellness tip of the day. How many of us are starting our day drinking water, a glass of water? How many of us do that? Okay, so Nelson says sometimes. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the deal. The reason why you want to start your day with a glass of water is your body goes quite a few hours without hydration as you sleep. Drinking a full glass of water in the morning can aid digestion, flush out toxins, enhance skin health. We love that for us, right? And give you an energy boost. So, you may have heard before, like those first few minutes of your day are the most important minutes of your day, honestly. Sometimes we often actually put ourselves last on the to-do list. The last thing that we're thinking about in the morning a lot of the times is drinking a glass of water before we head out the door. One of the things that we're often not doing is making sure that we're taking that pause, right? From the time you open your eyes in the morning to the time you head out the door, what's happening? Are you taking that pause to say, did I rejuvenate my body this morning? Did I take a moment to reflect on actually what I plan to accomplish today? Or are you like in autopilot? I think most of us find ourselves in autopilot, right? That alarm clock goes off. All you know is you got somewhere to be. And so you might pause to pour you a cup of coffee. But outside of that, you're just headed to the next place. I want us to try to make sure that we are carving out some time in the morning that might look like not pushing that snooze button as many times as you do, right? When the alarm goes off, go ahead and get up and go ahead and take that moment to reflect with yourself. Go in your kitchen, pour yourself a glass of water, enjoy that glass of water, and allow that water to do what it's meant to do in your body to help you to have an awesome start to your day. Again, it includes that's going to help you have an energy boost, right? Sometimes you don't even need the coffee. Try the water and see if that's enough for you. Um, so yeah, that is your physical wellness tip of the day. Get up in the morning and get you a glass of water. And I'm always down for challenges. I feel like, when it comes to us getting healthier or implementing healthier habits into our lives, oftentimes it just requires us to make a commitment, right? Sometimes it just looks like saying to yourself, for the next 30 days, I am going to commit to waking up and drinking a glass of water until that thing becomes a habit for you. Now it's something that you do on a regular basis, like you wake up and brush your teeth, right? Or you wash your face. Included in that morning ritual will be for you to get up and get a glass of water, and you'll be able to enjoy the rewards of making that decision. Also, so let's get into your mental health tip of the day. And I want to say this too before we keep going. As you are listening today, if you want to contribute to this conversation, if you want to testify to the fact that some of these tips actually do work, I want you to call in at 678-439-7419. Or you can actually go to, if you're like at work and you can't call in, you can go to the 101 TKO Radio YouTube page or Facebook page to comment live, and I'll be able to see it and interact with you that way. So make sure that you are, again, engaging in this conversation. This is not just for me to be talking to you. I want to hear from you also. All right. So mentally, what is your mental wellness tip of the day? So there's a lot of things that we can be doing to improve our mental health. And I think that we have to be really mindful about this. One of my other sayings, along with you need you to win, is that where your mind goes, your body follows. I'm going to say that again. Where your mind goes, your body follows. So our minds are like our most valuable asset, truly. The thoughts that are going through your mind, how you are feeling mentally is going to shape every other area of your life. It's going to make a difference between whether you are going to walk into your place of business or your workplace with a positive attitude or a negative attitude, whether you're going to have energy that is going to allow you to elevate or whether it's going to cause you to experience things that you don't want to experience, right? So we want to make sure that we are being very mindful about our mental, okay? And so one of the things that you can do to improve your mental wellness this week is to reframe unhelpful thoughts, right? Negative thoughts. No negativity November, y'all, right? No entertaining negative thoughts. So sometimes we don't always know what we need to do when these thoughts pop up into our head. These thoughts that are absolutely not productive. They're not helpful. They're not going to move us forward. They're not going to help us to reach our goals. What do we do when we have those thoughts? Those thoughts like, I can't do this. Life is never going to get better. It's always something. How many of us have said that? It's always something, right? Like you just can't catch a break. When those thoughts come up into your mind, you want to be able to reframe those thoughts. Okay. So here's the thing, the way we think, feel, and behave are linked. As I said, where your mind goes, your body follows. So sometimes we develop these patterns of thoughts or behaviors that are unhelpful. So we need to be able to recognize them, right? So the first thing is when that thought pops up into your head, I want you to ask yourself, is this thought going to move me towards my goals? Is this thought going to make me happier? Is this thought going to make me be more productive today? Is this thought going to bring me joy? Is this thought going to bring me love? Ask yourself those questions. And if the answer is this thought is absolutely not going to lead me in the direction that I want to go today, this thought is likely also just going to cause me more problems, right? I'm going to walk into my place of business with an attitude, and then other people are going to feel my energy, and then now everybody's energy is off, and now we're not either not making no money or I'm missing out on opportunities, whatever it may be. I want you to reframe that thought, right? So when that negative Nancy pops up into your head talking that nonsense, I want you to be able to say, no, I'm not doing this, not today. and reframe it with a positive affirmation. Okay. So instead of saying, I can't catch a break, say, I am expecting great things to happen for me today, right? The past is behind me. I'm looking forward to what the Lord has for me today. Okay. Instead of saying that, I can't do this, say, I am capable of doing anything that I set my mind to. I am resilient. I am able to overcome all of the obstacles that are ahead of me, right? Switch those negative thoughts out for positive affirmations, thoughts that are actually going to move you in the direction of feeling empowered, right? Encouraged, inspired, and motivated to reaching your goals. We have a choice. That's a message that I shared in the She Wins Society membership community yesterday for Monday Motivation. I said we have a choice. We always have a choice in the thoughts that we entertain. We always have a choice in the actions that we take. We always have a choice in the responses that we give to things. We always have a choice. So always choose the thing that's going to lead you in the direction that you want to go in. And that takes you being mindful and just intentional about not engaging in and subscribing to negativity. All right, so that is your mental wellness tip of the week. Let's go into your financial tip of the week because, listen, like I said earlier, money is one of those very sore subjects for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like to talk about money. A lot of people are stressed about money. In the current economy that we're living in, I mean, I can't seem to go to the grocery store and spend less than $50 no matter what I'm purchasing. It seems like everything has gone up in price. And so money, it can be a tough topic. So I want to share with you some money tips prepare for 2024, right? Some of us may be looking at our bank account balance right now, our savings account balance, and saying to ourselves like, I did not do what I planned to do with my money in 2023, or I didn't make as much money as I expected to make in 2023, or I just didn't hold myself accountable for the goals that I set when it came to positioning myself to prepare to have a better 2023, right? Some of us have goals where we are trying to purchase homes. Some of us have goals where we're trying to save up money for our children's college. Some of us have goals where we are trying to just pay off debt. So I want to share with you three money tips. Okay, you're not just going to get one money tip. You're going to get three money tips that are shared from economists that will help you to prepare for 2024. And this is from CNBC. So budgeting is the first one. And it says consumers can economize by looking at their weekly budgets and trimming expenses where possible. Okay. We talked about budgeting last time. We talked about, these Christmas gifts that are coming up, right? Setting a particular budget of how much money you actually have to spend on gifts, writing the list of the number of the people who you actually need to be purchasing gifts for, and then putting a dollar amount by their name. Budgeting will absolutely help you to save money and also be more clear about how you are spending money. I think that a lot of us, we have these habits, right? Some of those habits might look like every morning you're going through the Starbucks drive-through and you're getting coffee. Have you ever taken a moment to calculate out how much money you're actually spending on coffee every morning? Would it make it more sense for you to actually just go ahead and purchase you a Keurig or a machine that allows you to make coffee from home and then just buy your little cups to make coffee at home? Would that make more sense for your budget, depending on the goals that you currently have? Because a lot of us can definitely find ways to budget better and save more. So some of the tips they give, it says that might include buying store branded rather than brand name items at the grocery store or at clothing retailers, or shifting to different types of entertainment, like streaming movies at home instead of going out to the movie theater, for example. So again, if money is currently tight, I mean, this is how I feel about money. I feel like life is short and you want to make sure that you're enjoying it to the fullest, right? Tomorrow is not promised. But also, you want to make sure that you're being smart and in doing what needs to be done in this current season of your life to reach the goals that you want to reach, right? Some of us are very uncomfortable living in an apartment and really truly desire a house. So maybe you really just need to buckle down right now and say, okay, I can sacrifice the coffee, or I can sacrifice the movie date, or I can sacrifice these things that I really don't need right now just so that I can get to the greater that I truly desire. Then once I get that, check that box off, then I can start implementing more of the things that I want to do into my life. So it's just really being clear about what your priorities are, right? What is most important to you in this time of your life? What are your goals that you really want to reach? And making a commitment to make the necessary sacrifices that you need to make in order to reach the goals that you want to reach. Okay, the second tip is pay down debt. Pay down debt. The Federal Reserve has raised interest rates aggressively to rein in inflation. I think we've seen this. I think anybody who has been looking at trying to purchase a house right now has noticed that interest rates are way higher than what we are used to. So it says that has dramatically increased borrowing costs for households, right? We just talked about that, for everything from mortgages to auto loans, student loans, and credit card debt. Interest rates are higher. So you want to be able to kind of get away from that, right? And to get away from that will be to pay down some of your debt. It says, for example, average credit card rates known as annual percentage rate or APR at all-time highs over 20%, you all. So it says put any extra money toward paying down debt. Financial experts generally recommend prioritizing the highest interest debt first and paying bills on time in full each month if possible. So I love that tip because with us learning how to budget better, right, that will allow us to be able to pay more of our bills in full, pay more of our bills on time, and also pay off debts that we may have been allowing to linger, right? So again, do that calculation and actually see how much money you're spending on kind of miscellaneous things that you don't really need, and then decide to go ahead and apply that towards some of these debts that have been stressing you out, right? Because even though the creditor might call and you might ignore it, but there is a certain level of stress that we do feel when people are calling us, asking us about money, right? So the more that you can alleviate these debts, alleviate these people calling your phone, the better, okay? And then save if you can. That's the last financial tip. It says even if consumers don't have much disposable income to save, every dollar counts. Every dollar counts, okay? For those with a 401k plan at work, financial advisors generally recommend first saving enough to get their full company match, which is essentially free money. It says then consumers might consider building an emergency fund, health savings account if they have access at work, or individual retirement account. However, with these high interest loans, those with high interest loans should generally prioritize paying down that debt after saving enough for their 401k match, experts say. One benefit of high interest rate savers are getting higher rates on cash than they've seen in decades. So that is something for us to consider. And again, this is an article from CNBC. It says, use these 3 money tips heading into 2024. If you wanted to read it, or if I was talking too fast. Dondrell said, amen. That's how I'm living right now. Success requires sacrifice is my anthem currently. Yes, absolutely. Success requires sacrifice. All right, you guys. So we got our wellness tips of the week. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. This is 101 TKO Radio, the She Wins radio show. Hey sis, hey, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 CKO Radio. And this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. So we are back. This show is all about wellness tips of the week, all about helping us to win in life and business, get our minds right, get our spirits together. Okay, and so this next topic I want to talk about, it's been in the headlines heavy, right? Keke Palmer, the restraining order that she has requested and has received against her baby's father. So I want to talk about this topic today because, you know, I've seen the comments, right? I pay attention to the different viewpoints that other people have on different topics. In this particular topic, I've seen where there are definitely women who are saying we are Team Keke. Yeah, it's absolutely wrong. Like she should not be in situations where somebody is committing any type of harm to her. She is doing the right thing by requesting a restraining order and keeping her and her child safe. And then you have other people who, with this perspective of, oh, something's not right here, right? Something must be amiss because why is she just now requesting this restraining order in November when she's claiming that these things happened in February? And you're looking at the photos and the timestamps of when the altercations are occurring, and just really kind of acting like, given that we don't believe Black women energy. And I have to say that I think we need to be reminded. I think we need to be reminded sometimes that domestic violence is a very tricky thing, right? Keke Palmer is one of millions of women who is currently or will experience domestic violence this year. Okay, so I want to read you some statistics when it comes to domestic violence because although Keke and her baby's father have been together since 2021 and they welcomed their first child in February of 2023, and she's just now saying, despite the happy photos we see on social media, despite their live videos that they do where they seem like they're okay, despite her even telling us to mind our business, right after the viral tweet where he was condemning what she was wearing at the Usher concert. We've all seen the meme, but your mom, right? Despite all of that, I want us to understand the statistics when it comes to domestic violence because just because a person is smiling, just because they are projecting that the relationship is healthy, just because they did not leave the first time that they were assaulted, does not mean that their story is not true, right? We know these things to be real. And I want to say too, before I keep going, if there's anybody listening, again, this is Testimony Tuesday. I want to hear from you. I want you to contribute to this conversation. If you have experienced domestic violence, if you know somebody who has experienced domestic violence, if you have firsthand knowledge about what those types of situations look like and how difficult it can be for a woman to leave that situation, I definitely want to hear from you. Give me a call at 678-439-7419. So I want to read you some statistics when it comes to women and domestic violence. It says on the National Statistics website, the National Statistics Domestic Violence Fact Sheet website, it says on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million men and women. 10 million. So there are millions of women who experience domestic violence in 1 year. Okay? And it also says that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner contact sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking with impacts such as injuries. So Keke also mentioned in her request for a restraining order, she said that basically he was stalking her. Like he was showing up at her home unwelcomed and attacking her, trying to take her phone and doing these different things. And again, these are allegations. No one was there. However, I just, I don't want us to say, oh, it couldn't possibly be true because, or she's going too hard right now because she's trying to maybe get full custody of her child, whatever the case may be. Regardless of when the altercation occurred, the fact is that she does have proof that there was incidents where he was physical with her, right? So whenever she decided to finally say enough is enough, that really shouldn't matter, right? There's so many women who find themselves in these situations and they don't know how to get out of them, or they want to give their partner another chance. And I think that's also something that that was mentioned, was that Kiki did. She gave him multiple chances. Her mother came online to speak out about this. We've never heard her mother really speak about anything in the past that I've seen, but she came out to speak about it and say that, these things have occurred. Kiki, I'm sure, like most women can relate to the idea of wanting to keep your family together, right? I think a lot of women stay in a lot of different situations that are not healthy for them, simply because they're telling themselves, I want my child to have a two-parent household, or I want to keep my family together, or I want to extend grace to this person because I believe that they are still a good person, right? So many women are absolutely doing that. So we should not think that, because Keke Palmer is Keke Palmer, she's any different from any other woman. She is a red-blooded human being who wants the same things that most of us want, which is a wholesome, happy, healthy family for her child to have both his parents. And so it's a very good chance that she stayed in that relationship longer than she should have for those reasons. Okay. So I want to also share with you all some, if there is somebody who is currently listening right now and you are in a domestic violence relationship, or if you know somebody who is in a situation and you kind of feeling helpless and not really knowing what to say to them, I want to share some tips for this situation. This article comes from Essence. It's 7 steps to take right now if you're a victim of domestic violence. It says, know that it's not your fault. That's first and foremost. I think that as a life coach and as a woman, one of my major messages that I give to women is that any type of violence that is happening to you is never your fault. It's never your fault. There's nothing that you could do to a person that would get them to put their hands on you if that's not already something that's within them. Again, we talked about choices earlier on in the show, and everybody has a choice. If somebody says something to you that you don't like, you have a choice to walk away. If you feel like you're in a situation where you're being disrespected, you have a choice to walk away. So there's nothing that you could say or do to a person that will cause them to put their physical hands on you, unless that is the choice that they want to make. So know that it's not your fault. No matter what type of abuse you're experiencing, do not blame yourself. No one deserves to be abused, so don't normalize or downplay the situation or believe this is happening to you because of something you did. Okay, so that's first and foremost. It's not your fault. Okay, and then tell someone. I think that a lot of us stay in situations, again, longer than we have to, and that could be a domestic violence situation. That could be a financial situation. That could be just a lot of situations we stay in simply because we're suffering in silence. If we would just open our mouths and ask for help, we could find solutions a lot quicker, right? Somebody right now who is struggling financially is most likely struggling because you are lacking financial literacy. And if you would be able to ask somebody, hey, I need help with this, can you show me how to budget or how to save, that might actually help, right? So if you are in a domestic violence situation, one of the things that you can do is call a domestic abuse helpline, like the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The number is 800-799-SAFE. Again, that's 800-799-SAFE. You can call out to get advice on how to handle your situation, as well as strategies based on your local laws, and even find a women's shelter in your area if need be, if you just need to move out of that situation. You can get an order of protection. Nelson, you have something to say? All right, Nelson wants to chime in.
I think for some people, regardless if it's the domestic violence or financial issue, I think it's some people are embarrassed, and don't want to speak out, or the situation of if somebody told them, like, let's say for instance, somebody told you, I told you to leave that person alone, whatever, and then the backlash, or they may not want to hear it, or may feel like whoever they may have told may have said, like, see, I told you, So I think it plays on some people are just afraid to say something because of what backlash they may receive.
That's good. That's good. Shame. We stay silent because of shame. That's a really real thing. That's a really real thing. And I would say to anybody who's listening right now who is currently, again, suffering in silence because you are afraid of the shame and embarrassment that may come with people knowing what your reality is, right? People knowing that either you're living in a situation where you're not able to make ends meet, or you're living in a situation where you're being abused or what have you. I just really want you to think to yourself, is this something that you can sustain? Right? Is your current way of being something that you can sustain? If it's not something that you can sustain, I want you to ask yourself, is the embarrassment that you may feel, the temporary embarrassment or shame that you might feel from making people aware of your situation, is that worth it to get the help that you need to live a better life, for your reality to be drastically improved? Just imagine that you can ask for help, and then all of a sudden, where you currently are shifts and changes and transforms, maybe even overnight, simply because people are now aware that you need help. It makes me think about that saying all the time, check on your strong friend. And I used to be one of those people who really repeated that. I mean, I do think it's important for us to check on one another, but I also think it's important for the strong friend to be able to say, I'm not strong. I'm not strong today. I need help. It's our voices that allow us to see changes in our environments, right? Think about the GoFundMe pages. Think about the campaigns and the social issues that are brought to the forefront, that once people are aware of the issues, they are more willing to act upon helping to solve them. So a lot of us, again, we're sitting in silence because we are ashamed, because we don't want people to know our reality, but we're robbing ourselves of the ability to get the help that we need from people who actually would want to help us if they knew that we were not doing well. I think the majority of us can relate to the fact that when we get on social media, we're going to give the smiling faces, right? We're going to show the trips, we're going to celebrate the wins. But very few of us are showing people that, or telling people that we're not doing okay. And unfortunately, we've come to a time in life where people are literally looking at your social media to determine if you're okay, right? People are not calling to check on you because they're like, well, girl, you posted yesterday and had a smile on face. You said that y'all relationship was good. Y'all posted pictures holding hands and hugging up and taking trips. So people are not assuming that anything is wrong because your social media is saying everything is fine. And so, in knowing that, we have to be absolutely more intentional about speaking up for ourselves and finding ourselves in safe spaces where we can tell people, this is the reality. This is my reality. And knowing that what you share will be held confidential, right? Because everything is not for everyone, right? So I definitely appreciate Nelson for sharing that. Shame is something that we all, I think, carry for different reasons, and we just have to be able to weigh that and say, like, what's more important here? Is the embarrassment of the shame more important than me actually getting help and seeing transformation in my life? And the truth is that it's not. And I have to say, a lot of times that we create this narrative in our mind that we are going to be shamed and embarrassed, and literally we can break that idea and that stigma by opening our mouths and finding out that a lot of people can relate to us. You'll find out that you are not alone. I think that's the biggest thing we carry, is we feel like we're alone in this problem. We're alone in this situation. Nobody else could understand. And then you speak it out and realize that you are surrounded by people who know exactly what you're going through. And they can appreciate that you share it because they've been sitting over there in silence waiting for somebody to say, I'm just like you. That makes me think about a couple of years ago when I experienced an ectopic pregnancy, and something in my spirit was like, I'm usually a very private person, but something in my spirit was like, share that story on social media. And I could not believe how many hundreds of women were underneath my post saying, I went through this too. I experienced this too. And ectopic pregnancy is not something that I feel like we hear very much about at all. But in that moment, I created a space for other women to see that they weren't alone at all, and that we are all capable of moving forward through the things that we experience. So that's really good. The next thing on the list is getting an order of protection. So again, those who are, being shady and feeling like Kiki Palmer is doing too much by getting an order of protection, that is definitely one of the things that you should do in a domestic violence situation, especially if you have requested that the person leave you alone and they refuse. So it says, if you are a victim of domestic violence, you have every right to seek a legal order of protection issued by your state court, which requires your partner to stay away from you. And you can learn more about restraining order laws in your state at women's law Okay, again, be safe, protect yourself, do not take any threats against you lightly. If someone refuses to respect your request to be left alone, you have the right to implement things that will, by law, require them to stay away from you. Okay, and then document the abuse. That's a big thing too, right? So again, Kiki Palmer, I'm sure, was able to get her restraining order approved more quickly simply because she had video footage showing these altercations between herself and her baby's father. So make sure that you keep a record of your injuries. Make sure that you're filing police reports. Again, setting aside that shame. Some of us do not want to call the police. We do not want to call for help because we don't want to be seen in certain circumstances, but it's having this documentation of abuse that will help you to be able to hopefully transform your situation, improve your circumstances faster. So make sure you keep a record of your injuries, take photos, film and report the abuse if you can, or keep all incriminating text messages. So I just want to say shout out to Kiki because it seems like she did all the things, right? She did the right things that she needed to do in order to be moving forward in her life. She documented the abuse, she got her restraining order, she left, right? That's the next one, leave. It says times know that sometimes leaving is easier said than done. Yes, a woman should leave a relationship immediately upon the onset of toxic inner violent behavior. However, it is truly not that simple just to leave, you all. In fact, leaving an abuser is the most dangerous time for a victim of domestic violence, as the abuser thrives off power and control. When those are lost, they have nothing left to lose. So again, leaving is a strategic decision, right? I think a lot of us sometimes watch these movies. I know I have, and you see the woman. I think the movie I'm thinking of is maybe, oh, it's a Tyler movie. I can't remember the Tyler Perry movie where her husband had been abusive with her, and it seemed like she was like in the middle of the night trying to pack up her stuff and go, which resulted in him waking up and like trying to, I don't know, throw her over the balcony. Y'all know what I'm talking about if y'all seen that movie. But the thing is that those moments where we see women in these movies and we all think to ourselves, like, why didn't she just wait till the morning? Why didn't she just wait until he went to work the next day? You know, some of us, we think those thoughts. I know I have. So any woman who is listening, or any woman who knows a woman who's in that situation, or again, you see it happening with Kiki Palmer or anyone else, know that when a woman decides to leave a situation, it has to be strategic. She can't just pop up and leave, especially if she feels like her life is in danger. So let's not question why it took Kiki so many months after her child was born. Or I've even heard people say, well, she had the baby anyway. Like, okay, ladies, let's come on. Let's get real. Again, we all know what it's like to be in love with someone. We all know what it's like to want a person to rise to their fullest potential, to see the good in someone and hope that their negative behaviors will change. We all know what that's like in a relationship. So let's give Kiki some grace and understanding in this situation, and also send her some prayers, right, for herself, her child. We know that this cannot be easy for her. And then have a safety plan. So it says if you do plan to leave, have a solid plan for yourself, and if you have some, and if you have, I'm sorry, if you do plan to leave, have a solid plan for yourself and your children. Pack a bag that includes clothes, cash, or credit cards, birth certificates, driver's license, keys, social security cards, passports, medicine, school papers, insurance documents, medical records, and custody papers. You have kids, create a safe word for you and your children to use to alert family or friends of danger. And if you are ever in immediate danger, definitely call 911. Okay, call the police as soon as possible. So I wanted to just shed light on this topic today because, again, I think that some of us, if we've never been in certain circumstances, we have this idea that we won't be in those types of circumstances, or we kind of just project our own views, not without having compassion and empathy for a person who is currently in the situation. So y'all know, if y'all know me, if you've been listening to the radio show, I'm definitely all about women supporting other women. I'm all about believing Black women. I know that we might be feeling a little jaded after Carly Russell. However, we have to continue to stand behind our sisters whenever they are in situations that are harmful to them, and believe them until we have any other reason not to. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to talk about some more things that are happening in the world and some more ways for you to win in life and business. Again, this is 101 TKO Radio, the She Wins Radio Show. And we're live here outside. sis, hey, we are back. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. If you don't know by now, I am tuning in with you live every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and I'm bringing you information, inspiration, entertainment, and the game plan to win in life and in business. So thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Thank you for everyone who is watching via YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for your comments. I haven't had anybody call in yet today, but I definitely would love to hear from you. If you are listening and want to contribute to the conversation, please give me a call at 678-439-7419. You can also shout out your birthday if it's your birthday. It's your birthday. Or you can shout out your business. Okay, so the airwaves are here and live and open for you to put your voice on them. All right, so here is something I want to talk about. Speaking of birthdays, happy birthday to Tracy Morgan, you all. Happy birthday, Tracy Morgan. Now, today is not his actual birthday. His birthday was a couple of days ago on November 10th. So we want to shout out Tracy Morgan because we know that he's turning 55 today, but he almost didn't make it, right? We do know that to be true. And so I said this is Testimony Tuesday. We want to acknowledge the people who are still living and breathing, giving their flowers while they are living, right? Because again, as I said, tomorrow is not promised, but Tracy Morgan, as you may remember, was in a near fatal accident with a Walmart truck. Okay, so he nearly died, and he took quite some time to recover after that. It is quite amazing to see that, despite the fact that he was really injured in that wreck, he sustained a broken leg, a broken femur, a broken nose, several broken ribs, and head injuries in the crash. He was in a coma for weeks, y'all, and was in a wheelchair for several months. However, we can see him, right? He's walking, he's talking, he is still entertaining us. So that is absolutely a blessing that we still have Tracy Morgan here with us today. So happy 55th birthday, Tracy Morgan. Now, I also want to say that today is National Seatbelt Day. Did y'all know that? Today is National Seatbelt Day. And I think that's definitely a good thing for us to think about, right? Considering that accidents happen every single day. We like to believe that we're the safest drivers on the road, but we also don't know what the people around us are going to be doing, right? So we want to make sure that we're being careful. So today is National Seatbelt Day. And it says, as the holidays approach, National Seatbelt Day on November 14th encourages everyone to buckle up to save lives. No matter where you sit in a vehicle, wearing the seatbelt is proven to save lives. So I know that sometimes we don't want to wear a seatbelt. I know that when I was a kid, the first thing I would do when I got in the car was put that seatbelt on and then throw that strap behind my back, right? How many of us did that when we were kids and maybe still doing it now, right? Wear your seatbelt properly. It says just over 90% of Americans buckle up, saving an estimated 15,000 lives each year. I definitely want to believe that Tracy Morgan had his seatbelt on that night, okay? However, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 47% of passenger fatalities in 2017 were not restrained. Seatbelts are proven to reduce the risk of serious injury and save lives. And a fun fact is, it's been 60 years since the invention of the three-point seatbelt, and this restraint has saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Okay, hundreds of thousands of lives. So National Seatbelt Day, all right? Tell a friend to tell a friend it's National Seatbelt Day. Remind everybody to buckle up and be safe, all right? We want you to be here with us as long as possible. Oh, and I want to share how to observe National Seatbelt Day, because obviously there are instructions. Everyone buckle up every time. I don't care if you're just going around the corner to your friend's house or to the convenience store in the corner. Buckle up every time. Drivers ensure each passenger buckles up. You know, one of the things about my vehicle that I love is that it will tell me when my passengers are not buckled up. My car's name is Rainbow, and if I'm not buckled up or my passenger is not buckled up, she's making all kinds of noise to alert me. So make sure that you are ensuring that your passengers buckle up too, no matter if it's a quick trip to the store, like I just said, or a road trip to see family. Before you hit the road, buckle your seat belt. Even when ride sharing, ooh, okay. So that's when they're gonna get me. Because I know I have hopped into an Uber or Lyft or two and did not put on my seatbelt, y'all. Okay. So I'm guilty. Let me make sure that I do that too. Even when ride sharing, buckling up is just as important. Encourage others to wear their seatbelts too. Let them know how important it is to see them alive and safe. For your parents, let your children see you buckling up every time because kids don't do what you say, they do what you do. All right. So National Seatbelt Day, y'all. Okay, so now let's get into this next topic. And I think that since we're talking about celebrity birthdays and such, let's talk about some other things that celebrities are currently doing in the world. Celebrities are, if you haven't been paying attention, which I hope you've been paying attention, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, as we know. But one of the current topics that we're seeing a lot on the news today is this current war between Israel and Hamas. And as of late last month, 200 plus celebrities have signed a letter to President Biden urging a ceasefire in the Israel Hamas war. Now, why should you care about this? Here's my take on it. And again, maybe you haven't been paying attention. In Hollywood, I think that we may have all noticed that it was not a popular thing for celebrities to be speaking out against anything in relation to Israel, right? Anything negative, they were quickly called anti Semitic and they were canceled. Yes? Okay. So I think that we can, now that we are seeing celebrities be very vocal about this thing, it's something that should be making us pay more attention because they're basically saying they're willing to risk it all. They're willing to risk their careers. They're willing to risk them not being able to work. They're willing to risk that because they see a cause that requires them to speak up. Okay. And so we've talked a little bit about this subject a little bit over the past few shows, but people are calling for a ceasefire in Gaza for the specific reason that humanitarian aid is not being received by people. Over 4,000 children have been killed in this war. Palestinian children have been killed in this war. Women and children have not been having access to food and water. Everybody's homes and businesses have been reduced to rubble. It's really been a really difficult situation. And again, at this point, they're saying that the hospital structures are failing. They're not getting electricity that they need in order to keep babies alive in incubators. They're literally at this point starving to death because they don't have any food or water, clean water. So more and more celebrities are speaking out. And from Ben Affleck to Gigi Hadid to Padma Lakshma and Wanda Sykes, a group of almost 250 actors, comedians, fashion models, recording artists, and other individuals in the entertainment industry signed a letter to President Joe Biden urging an end to Israel-Hamas war. Uniting as a group called Artists for Ceasefire, we come together as artists and advocates, but most importantly as human beings witnessing the devastating loss of lives and unfolding horror in Israel and Palestine. So this is something that we all need to be, I think, paying attention to because there's a lot. There's a lot a whole rabbit hole that you can go down when it comes to the specific issue. But we do need to be aware that these things are happening in the world, and we do need to be aware of the people who are speaking up about these things and why our voices do matter on this topic. It's important that celebrities are speaking up in writing this letter to President Biden, and as well as that we are, as everyday local people, being able to write letters to our constituents in order to request for a ceasefire because our tax dollars are being used to fund this continuous war that is occurring. And so we like to believe that when we put people in these positions of power, that our voice does matter when we request for change to occur. However, a lot of people are feeling pretty hopeless because we have been speaking out and there have been protests and there have been the calls that have been made and no change has occurred. Nobody wants to see any particular group of people to be suffering the way that we are seeing the Palestinian people suffer. We understand that, Israel has a right to defend themselves against any attacks against their people. However, we do want to encourage that measures are taken to keep innocent people alive and safe and well and free from being harmed in the midst of war. So I just wanted to share this because, like I said, I think that we're going to continue to hear more and more about this topic as time goes on. The awareness for it is going to continue to keep picking up more and more and more and more. And so we want to be aware of how these things are happening, even though they're happening abroad. We want to be aware of how these things are impacting us right here at home in the United States. And so we're going to see how this politically affects a lot of things as well. We know that we have a presidential election coming up next year. We have seen that President Joe Biden's numbers have decreased. His approval ratings have decreased as a result of how he's decided to fund this particular war and him not requesting for a ceasefire. So a lot of things may be looking different in 2024 for us politically, economically. So we just want to be making sure that, as women who are striving to win in life, we want to make sure that we're keeping our eyes out and aware of the things that are going on around us, right? Because we can't just kind of stick our heads in the sand and say, well, that's not me and it's not affecting me, because eventually the things that you ignore may very well be at your front door. Okay, so we want to be keeping those things in mind. All right, so this was an awesome topic for us to have. Again, we talked about wellness tips of the week. We talked about ways to make sure that you're protecting Black women and also keeping yourself safe from domestic violence situations. We talked about just really winning mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. And I want to get into the spiritual wellness tip of today because we didn't touch on spiritual, and today is Testimony Tuesday. One of the things that I came across recently, and it was just such a reminder to me of both what Nelson said earlier about shame and us choosing to just elevate, in an emotional way, elevate in a spiritual way. And one of those things is Dr. Maya Angelou has a quote that says, "There is no greater burden than carrying an untold story inside of you." And so, for our spiritual wellness tip of the day, I want us to really consider that our lives have purpose and our stories have meaning, right? The journey that each and every one of us took, the good, the bad, and the ugly of that journey, it all had a purpose. It all had a reason. It all had a meaning, right? And so if we can say to ourselves that we know that our story, it has a purpose, and that it is not only does it have a purpose, but it's meant to in some way help, serve, or free someone else and ourselves, then that should help us to release some of the shame that we're carrying about our stories and allow us to open ourselves up to discover the greater that God had planned for us through the stories that we lived, right? There is a tribe that is waiting for you when you tell your story. There are people who are waiting to be freed from hearing your story. There is purpose that is waiting to be discovered from you telling your story. It really makes me think about one of our She Wins Society members. Her name is Rhonda Brunson. She's the founder of Tata Tuesdays. And she was diagnosed with breast cancer last year. And it was so beautiful to watch her journey to becoming cancer free. She rang the bell last month. She is no longer, on chemotherapy. She is now considered cancer free. So we're very excited about that. But one of the things that Rhonda did is she did not go into this hole of shame. She did not retreat. She did not hide. She began to tell her story about her diagnosis from day one and literally took us all on this journey of watching her go from, losing her hair to all of the different treatments and injections and the different reports she was getting from her doctor. The all everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. She took us on this journey with her. And through that process, she ended up creating a platform, an organization called Tata Tuesdays that is meant to provide awareness and support for people who are breast cancer survivors, breast cancer supporters, And so it's just been beautiful. And so I wanted to share that with you all because, again, sometimes we are going through life and we are feeling very unmotivated and very discouraged and very alone in what we're going through, not realizing that there is a purpose to what we're going through, and that if we have the courage to tell our stories, we will find that there's a lot of love waiting for us. There's a lot of purpose waiting for us. There's a lot of good things that are waiting for us on the other side of those words that we are choosing to stay silent and not speak upon. So I want to encourage us again. That's your spiritual wellness tip of the day. Tell your story. Speak out loud, ask for help, share your journey with someone else, be the light at the end of someone else's tunnel, right? Somebody right now, maybe you've overcome something, because that's one thing we do like to do, right? When we're going through something, we do not like to tell people we are going through it. We just come out on the other side and we talk about how good God has been to us. We don't really tell people why we are saying God has been so good to us. And so I want to encourage us to be more vocal about the stories that we're going through, because your story, your testimony can very well be the light at the end of someone else's dark tunnel. It can help somebody else have hope and confidence and courage to continue walking the path that they're going, knowing that they can see someone who has overcome it, someone who has risen above things that try to weigh them down. And you can be their testimony that life does get better and that where they are is just temporary. Okay, so that is your spiritual wellness tip of the day. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back again. This is the 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Radio Show. Hey sis, hey, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Went Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. So, when we left off, we were talking about people just living in their truth, right? Telling their stories, sharing their testimonies. And that brings me to another woman that I am very proud of. She is Kiana Watson. If you're not familiar with Kiana Watson, she is a prominent Atlanta real estate investor. She is the owner of Watson Realty Company. She's just an amazing woman. She has a huge following on social media. She's always showing us just these luxurious homes that she's building and selling. And she's just a woman. She's a boss. Okay. She is a boss. And I love to see everything that she's doing. Along with her sharing all of the amazing things that she's doing in business, I want to give her a round of applause for standing in her truth. Okay. So if you don't follow her, recently sis posted on her page, I am divorced. Now, in previous posts, again, if you have been following her, you've seen that she has been sharing these beautiful photos of her and her husband taking trips and celebrating their anniversary and just doing it big together. Like, definitely was given power couple goals. Okay. And so, like we've been talking about throughout this show, again, shout out to Nelson for just bringing up the fact that shame can keep people in a lot of different situations that they should not be in. I want to shout Kiana out because a lot of women in her position might say to themselves, I'm not going to share that I'm divorced. I'm not going to share anything about, the things that could be perceived as negative in my life because I don't want people to look at me in a different light. And I think that we have this social responsibility, right? Like me and my husband, we have very deep conversations, and sometimes he's definitely on the side of, like keep your business to yourself, right? Like, why are you telling people your business? But here's what I believe. I believe that if you have a social platform where you are influencing people, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't care if it was one person or 500,000 people, but you are influencing people through your day-to-day living, your lifestyle, right? I think you have a social responsibility to not just share the good, but also the bad and the ugly, right? Because that is what is real. And so I commend her for putting out this statement, letting people know that she is now divorced. And it's a pretty lengthy statement, but she said that this statement was not for anybody else. It was for her. It was for her to be able to, I'm sure, give herself some peace and some closure for this next chapter of her life. But just briefly, she said, I am divorced after 10 years of marriage in mid-June 2023. I discovered that my spouse had been involved in several affairs. Up until that time, I was unaware of any infidelity within our marriage. Throughout our relationship, we were happy, and my partner never expressed dissatisfaction with our marriage to me. We did have occasional arguments like any married couple, but nothing out of the ordinary. My spouse consistently conveyed love and contentment with the direction of our relationship. As a result of the deception, hurt, disrespect, and to protect my business and assets, I filed for divorce. As of August 2023, we agreed on a settlement and we were officially divorced. During this difficult and confusing time, we briefly attempted reconciliation of our relationship. We went to therapy, church, and began spending time together. This started at the end of September and all of October 2023. In that period of reflection, I gained insight into my ex-husband's true character, recognizing him as someone who engaged in multiple relationships without regard for honesty, integrity, or respect for me. I want to be unequivocally clear that I have never engaged in infidelity or any physical sexual relationships outside of our marriage. The challenge we face regarding conceiving the child were not on my part, but rather due to my ex-husband's conceptual issues. Our relationship was not a business arrangement or social media branding strategy. I believe I was in a loving, committed marriage, and I was genuinely happy until the discovery of my spouse's infidelity. She said, and this is the part that I really, really love. She said, I need to clarify that I hold no shame for the actions of my ex-husband. His choices, his infidelities, and his deceitful actions are not a reflection of my worth or character. I firmly believe in my self-worth, and I understand that I'm deserving of love, respect, and honesty in any relationship. Um, I'm just kind of skimming now because I want to. Okay, so she said, while many more details could be shared, I believe it's essential to find a balance between transparency and privacy. Throughout this journey, I've chosen a path of forgiveness, not for anyone else's sake, but for my freedom to heal and move forward with my life. I'm not jaded by the actions of my ex-husband. I am truly a true lover girl. I believe in love and the joy that comes from having a committed relationship that is safe, honest, and loving. I pray that my ex-husband heals and receives what God has for him. To all the women who are engaged in affairs with my ex-husband during our marriage, I pray that you find some self-worth and healing, because to be a mistress, you have no self-esteem or no self-worth. And finally, I pray for the continuation of my healing. I'm in a happy and peaceful place. I'm thankful to Jesus Christ for carrying me in this season. So I just wanted to share that, because one of the things that stuck out to me the most, again, as a life coach, is for a woman being able to recognize, and we talked about this earlier with domestic violence as well, being able to recognize that other person's actions are not your fault. You don't need to carry shame or feel unworthy because a person decides that they are not going to treat you with the respect that you deserve. And so, while some people might say, oh, she just said too much, she put too much of her business out there, why do we need to know this? The reason why I think we need to know this is, again, there are women who are literally watching her platform. They are seeing all of these amazing things she's doing. They're seeing the money that she's making. They're seeing the trips that she's taking. They're seeing this beautiful marriage that she is sharing. However, again, this creates sometimes for people this idea that this is something that is not something that they can accomplish on their own, right? They assume that her life is completely perfect, and that, that's perfection is something to even be striving for. And the truth of the matter is that all of us, again, are red-blooded human beings. All of us, no matter our career, no matter how much money we make, no matter how beautiful we are all human beings, and we are all subject to experiencing different struggles in life. And so for her to be able to have a platform that large and to be able to give not only be vulnerable with women and show other women that they can be vulnerable in situations, that they don't have to carry shame when life doesn't turn out the way that they expected, but to also show women that they don't have to stay in situations that are not going to serve them. That is extremely, extremely, extremely powerful. For those of us who grew up in households where it was like, what goes on in this house stays in this house, I think we all know, again, the things that we carry as a result of the silence that we have when it comes to things that are going on in our lives. And while I do think that there are certain things in our life that should remain private, that is not for all spaces and all people to be aware of, I do think that if you have a platform, if you are influencing people, it is a social responsibility that you have to keep it real at certain points. You know what I mean? Like, let people know that these things can happen to anybody. And also, again, the thing that sits with me and will forever sit with me about this entire statement is the fact that she recognizes that she doesn't need to carry shame about somebody else's actions, and that her self-worth does not need to be impacted by her husband's decisions to be unfaithful to her. So I wanted to share that again, because some of us are just, again, we're staying in places and relationships and situations that we need to be able to just move on from. Like, it's no longer serving you. It's not bringing you joy. It's not bringing you happiness. And just because every time you post a picture with you and this person on social media, you get a certain number of likes, or people seem to be infatuated with your life or saying that you are goals, does not mean that you should stay in that. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you can post a photo, and yeah, people can like it and say that they find that to be something that is beautiful. But you have to go back home, and you have to live in your situation. You have to wake up and go to sleep in your skin every single day. So what's most important is not how other people feel about the choices that you make in your life. What's most important is how you feel about the choices that you make in your life. Is this making you happier? Is this moving you towards your goals? Is this serving you, right? Is this bringing you joy? If the answer is no, it's a good chance it might be time for you to make some different decisions, and be absolutely okay with the fact that other people might not agree with those decisions. Other people might not like those decisions. Other people might do things differently. And that's okay, because it's your life and you get to do it your way. All right. So let's send some love to both Kiki Palmer and Kiana Watson. And I want to say, send some love to the people you know, the women in your life. That's the immediate women in your life, right? That you know might be going through some things, that are striving to do their best. Send them some love too, okay? Like, let's just not focus on celebrities or influencers. Let's focus on the people that we see on a regular basis. Check in on them, show them some love, all right? All right, so moving on from that topic, I wanted to bring this up, and this is really impromptu because it wasn't on my it wasn't on my list for today. But since I came across it in last week, we were talking about scammers. I definitely wanted to bring this up. So a man wanted across the southeast for social media scams was arrested in Georgia, deputies say. So we were last week we talked about scammers and the red flags of scammers, how to know if somebody is a scammer or if you're being scammed. I want to definitely bring this to our attention because we did talk about how social media is one of those places, like it's the wild, wild west. It is breeding ground for scammers and their shenanigans, right? So it says Douglas County deputies have arrested a man authorities say was wanted across the southeast for a variety of social media scams. Officials say Paul Benjamin Locke had been on the run and avoiding authorities since July 2020, y'all. He's been at this for 3 years on the run. According to investigators, Locke, who went by Big Ben, would offer things like Georgia football tickets, Peach Bowl tickets, and counterfeit items for sale on Craigslist and social media sites. Once he got his money, officials say Locke wouldn't deliver what he promised to his victims. Authorities say Locke was wanted by 9 different agencies and is believed to have victims across the United States. Locke is now in custody at the Douglas County Jail on charges of violation of probation. If you believe that you are a victim of Locke's contact, if you believe that you're a victim of Locke's, contact your local law enforcement agencies to report your situation. Y'all, well, we got one scammer off the street, so that's a good thing. One scammer down. I don't know how many more to go. But y'all be safe out here in these streets. Be safe out here, making purchases online. Just make sure that you're vetting people. Make sure that you are doing your due diligence to make sure that whenever you're sending your money somewhere, that you're actually going to get the services that you paid for. Okay, because it's real out here. When people are experiencing financial difficulties and money is tight for people, I feel like we see more and more and more situations where people are scamming or robbing or finding some kind of way to get over on somebody else. And unfortunately we do live in this dog eat dog world where people say to themselves like, if it's me or you, I'm choosing me. All right. So all morality goes out of the window. All humanity goes out of the window when people are struggling. So we have to make sure that we are keeping ourselves safe. Okay. So are we going to take a quick break? All right, we're going to take a quick music break, you guys. We will be right back. This is 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Radio Show.
Wake up and text. What?
Hey sis, hey, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. It is Testimony Tuesday, No Negativity November, Wellness Tips of the Week show. We have been talking about some really good things. And you know what? That last song, Moment for Life by Nicki Minaj, really made me also say I had to shout Nicki Minaj out today. Again, we've been talking about women who have been living in their truth, reducing this dead weight, releasing this dead weight, right? These telling their stories and not allowing themselves to keep carrying things that are weighing them down. And I love that for them. I absolutely love that for them. So, as you may have seen, Nicki Minaj is the cover girl for Vogue's December 2023 issue. Shout out to Nicki Minaj. And one of the things that she shared, amongst some really awesome, amazing things, is she shared that she has been an addict in the past. She has had a struggle with an addiction to Percocet. And again, I can't say it enough how women who have this influence, women who have these platforms, just being able to speak up and speak out about their own struggles is such a very powerful, powerful, powerful thing to do for today's society of women who are under a significant amount of pressure to seem like they are perfect, right? That they don't have any struggles. So the more that we see these women do this, I definitely want to make sure that we are celebrating them, we are shouting them out, we are encouraging them to keep doing that thing, right? Keep speaking your truth. So in the article, the Queen of Rap speaks candidly about her past Percocet use, revealing that she was prescribed the opioid to treat painful menstrual cramps years ago. She says, "No one told me that this was a narcotic and this was addictive." She began to take the drug even when she was in pain. And she said, "Luckily, I was able to ground myself. But once an addict, always an addict. I feel like if you've ever experienced addiction to anything, which I have, you always have to think three. You have to always have to think twice and three times about the choices that you make." Huge, huge statement. Again, choices. We started the show off about choices. That you always have the choice to make the better option, take the better option, or take the better road, right? Or take the better step forward. You always have that choice. So again, salute to all the girls, salute to all the women who are making the choice to stand in their truth unapologetically, without shame, and using their testimonies to light the path for somebody else, right? To show somebody else that, hey, you might be struggling with addiction right now. You might be struggling with domestic violence right now. You might be in the midst of a divorce, but trouble does not last always. This thing is not going to break you. There is a way forward. You can overcome this. So I shout out to all the women that I mentioned today, and all the women, the unseen women, the unheard women who are out here doing this work to empower and encourage and uplift others by sharing their stories. I also want to quickly touch on this situation, because when we're talking about women and us basically having each other's backs, being able to step in and show each other support, or to educate one another when we don't know better. Y'all have seen, I'm sure, this hot mess situation that's going on right now with Krishan Rock and Tamar Braxton and James Wright, where apparently or allegedly, Krishan Rock attended Tamar's concert. She thought she was there to perform on stage. Tamar has since debunked that and said that she wasn't invited to come. There was statements made that Krishan Rock assaulted James Wright while she was at the show for, I guess, some sort of disagreement about what happened during the show. And so I just want to, I want to still send love. I know some of us feel like she doesn't deserve any more grace. She doesn't deserve any more love. Some people are just really tired of her. She said that she was deactivating her social media pages. I don't know how long that's going to last, because she does make a bulk of her money from social media. However, I do want to encourage her to take that time to focus on herself, right? Because again, social media can be a toxic place when you're not using the space for the right things. So I want to send some prayers for Krishan Rock, for her to take some time to really get grounded and get clear about what her goals are, and get clear about the people who she needs to have around her in her circle, and to also just evaluate her actions and to adjust where need be, right? We can't always be a victim in every situation. There's a choice and a part that we all play in everything that we experience. And so there are moments when we just have to simply take accountability for ourselves and say, you know what, there's a pattern of this. I keep finding myself in these type of situations because I keep responding in this way, or I keep going to these places, or I keep surrounding myself with these people. And so we're going to send some love to our sister Krishan Rock, because we all know what it's like to be young. And I know for a fact that I said to myself, I am so glad that social media was not like it was when I was her age, because I don't know what kind of mess. Okay, like if we think about the things that we said, when we were in our 20s or younger, and we really believed that stuff to be true. Now looking back, like, girl, what were you talking about? Like, you were a hot mess. You did not know what you were talking about. That is not true. That is not real. And, then we grow up and we realize, like, okay, that way of thinking and that way of being is just not it. It's not it. Right. So I wanted to share that. And I want to close out today's show because we have been talking about wellness tips, right? We've been talking about um, things to make sure that we are being well. And with this holiday season coming up, I think that we definitely know that usually this is the time of year where alcohol consumption goes up. We got our eggnog. You have family and friends around. You're probably doing more social drinking. Of course, definitely not putting any limit on how much you're eating and what you're eating, right? We know the sweet potato pies are coming out. We know the pound cakes are coming out. We know all of these things are happening, right? We're gonna be taking some shots probably. Say everybody got that family member who's ready to pour up a shot or two. So with that, I want us to make sure that we're adding in lemon, ginger, turmeric wellness shots into our recipes. Okay, so if y'all have heard me before, I love ginger. Anything with ginger, I love. I'm sitting here right now drinking this carrot and ginger, turmeric, and apple juice. And most people look at me like, girl, I guess, but it's good to me. So I wanted to share this recipe with you so that you can make sure that you're putting something inside of your body that is going to keep you just, feeling good. And this is a healthy shot, right? So along with that, Tito's, go ahead and get you a side of lemon ginger turmeric wellness. All right. So here is a recipe for this 5-ingredient 5-minute shot. Now, if you have a juicer, you can make it in your juicer. But if you don't have a juicer, you can blend these ingredients in your blender and then strain it for a similar effect. By the way, just so you all know, I'm getting this recipe from minimalistbaker.com if you want to go and just get all of the details. But the ingredients that you're going to be using are turmeric, and turmeric contains a compound called curcumin, which boosts amazing antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. It's been used for medicine, like natural medicine, for thousands of years for conditions such as breathing problems, joint pain, fatigue, digestive issues, and more. So whether you decide to have some turmeric in this or something else, just know that it has a lot of health benefits and you can implement it anywhere that you see fit. I know that people also cook with turmeric as well, like put it in your food dishes. So you consider that as well. And then I do want to say too that this is also good because we are in a season where people are finding themselves getting more sick, right? Flu season, this weather, this temperature is up and down. You going from turning the AC on one day to the heat the next day. Don't know what's going on. So again, you want to keep your immune system strong. The other ingredient rather is ginger. It's a natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant that's known to aid digestion and relieve nausea. We know that, right? We used to, whenever we had a stomach ache, what was your grandma or your mama giving you? Ginger ale. That was like the solution to most ailments in most of our households, right? That good old ginger ale. But it is known to aid digestion and relieve nausea. So ginger is the ingredient. And then lemon is naturally detoxifying and alkalizing in the body, aids in healthy bowel movements, and boosts plenty of vitamin C, which boosts the immune system. So make sure that you're including lemon in as much as you can, right? You can include lemon in your pasta sauce. You can include lemon, obviously, when you're having your cup of tea, and then as well as this shot. And then black pepper also goes into it. And interestingly enough, black pepper helps boost the absorption of turmeric by up to 2,000%. So I'm assuming you would need to absorb more of the turmeric because maybe the taste. I'm not sure. It doesn't say. But again, you can go ahead and read this article on your own so that you can get more information. And so you're also going to use juice. juice, I believe, from an orange. Yep, that's your last ingredient is an orange. So you're gonna squeeze your juice from your orange, and once your juice has been extracted, it's time to add that magical black pepper to the mix um, and throw one back. That's what it says. So there you go. That's all the ingredients. You need your orange juice, fresh juice from an orange. You need your lemon. You need your ginger. You need your turmeric, and then sprinkle your little pepper on there and throw it back. And that's going to be something that's going to help you to and boost your immune system, reduce inflammation in your body, give you some vitamin C. That's gonna be good. You can check out other recipes like this from minimalistbaker.com. All right, you also, we are wrapping up today's show. I definitely want to also remind you to make sure that you visit SheWinsSociety.com. We are getting ready to announce our seasonal retreats for 2024. We've been talking everything about wellness today, and one of the ways to also be intentional about your wellness is to create time to get away, to get out of your current environment, to see new things, to be around positive people, to rest and relax and to just be, right? Sometimes we just need moments of life where we are not on any particular schedule. Sometimes we need moments in life where we are on a schedule that is going to be positive and productive for us. Sometimes we need moments in life where we are, again, just in environments and atmospheres that are conducive to our growth and development and mental health and physical health. So make sure that you visit SheWinsSociety.com and check out our website, sign up for our email list if you have not already, so that you can stay in tune and locked into all the information that we're going to be dropping soon about our upcoming seasonal retreats. Also, if you are, again, getting ready for 2024, ready to get your mind right, ready to reignite your spirit, ready to just be renewed, right? I think that, again, for 2023, a lot of people, I saw, I can't remember who it was, one celebrity, she posted that 2023 didn't go anywhere like Ari is her name, I believe. And 2023 didn't go anywhere the way that she expected it to be. A lot of things that she hoped for didn't happen, but she is looking forward to 2024 being better than she could have imagined. So some of us, we need to be renewed and reignited. We need to just have this boost of motivation and inspiration to get us going and encouraged and optimistic about 2024. So if that is something that you know that you are needing right now in your life, like if you just can't see how 2024 will be any better than 2023, if you need a renewal of your mind, if you need to reignite your spirit and your ambition, definitely make sure that you visit SheWinsSociety.com and get on the email list, because I am going to be dropping a new coaching program, I should say, that is going to help you to get ready for 2024. I know we always again say new year, new me, new year, new me, but that the new year, new me doesn't necessarily start on January 1st. It starts before January 1st of the next year. This is right now, it's a time right now to start looking at your habits, to start looking at your environment, to start looking at your relationships, and start evaluating what needs to stay and what needs to go. Also being able to look at this year and say to yourself, like, what didn't go the way that you want it to go and why? And what did go the way that you wanted it to go, and how can you leverage your wins, right? Your small and big wins. How can you leverage these wins in order to be more successful in 2024? We all have lots of things that we can be grateful for this year, whether everything worked your way or whether it did not. We all have things to be grateful for this year. And that's the one thing that I would want to leave us with, is to stay focused on the positives, right? Remain in a state of gratitude, because when you're constantly focused on the things that are going right for you, and when you're constantly focused on what you do have, when you're constantly counting your blessings, it puts you in a position in order to be able to leverage those things and to be able to attract and achieve more. So you want to stay encouraged by remaining grateful. That is today's message. If you want to stay well, if you want to stay happy, if you want to be at peace, remain in a state of gratitude and decide to do the best you can with what's in your hands, and then trust that anything above you will be handled by the one who is above you. Okay? So that is today's show. Again, thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I would love, love, love to hear from you. The next time, if we didn't hear from you today, so make sure you write this number down: 678-439-7419. Go ahead and set your alarm on your clock right now for every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And be sure that you download the 101 TKO radio app on your mobile device and tune in with me every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is your favorite coach, Andromeda, and this is the She Wins radio show. Until next time, keep growing, glowing, and winning. I'm not gonna